Probably works well for many.
I'm going to pull the...
Which one?
I'll just... You ready to go?
Okay. We'll call the February 20th meeting of the Glendale City Council to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Council members Manukian. Here. Najarian.
Here.
Yusefian. Mayor Weaver. Mayor Pro Tem Quintero.
Here. Tonight, the flag salute actually will be led by Council Member Najarian and the invocation by Artie Kosaki, the City Clerk. Please rise.
Face the flag, put your hand over your heart, and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
President John F. Kennedy remarked once that our problems are man-made, therefore they may be solved by man. No problem of human destiny is beyond human beings. Tonight, as we tackle the man-made problems that we face as individuals, as neighbors, as partners in commerce or otherwise, let us seek the solutions that bring the best of each individual or group to the table for the common good. Let us pray for the prosperity and safety of our jewel city. We pray that this council is granted the guidance and the wisdom necessary to face the issues before them with our best interest at heart and the city's viability in mind. Amen.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, it would be appropriate at this time to announce to the public that Item 4 under City Council staff comments will occur after oral communications. This is consistent with council direction on February 6th that we temporarily switch the order of those items.
Okay, great. Thank you. What's next, please?
Next is my report. The agenda for the February 20th, 2007 regular meeting of the Glendale City Council was posted on Thursday, February 15, 2007 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Next, please.
Presentation and appointments at 3A is agenda preview for the meeting of February 27, 2007.
Mr. McFall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and council members. Next week, February 27th, there are no action items on the Housing Authority or the Redevelopment Agency, although there is a joint City Council and Redevelopment Agency meeting to consider a amended development agreement for the Town Center project. There will be an ordinance for council to consider for introduction. On the City Council agenda, there are a number of items. There's two items relative to a CalPERS, that's the Employees Benefits Program, modifications to the PERS program that were made during this last negotiation period. So two items the council will consider. From the Director of Public Works, there will be this a action for the sealing and backfilling of the Brand Park landfill under drain. There are two hearings to be conducted. The first, the fire chief will conduct the 2007 annual weed abatement program hearing. And secondly, the acting director of administrative services will be providing a resolution to approve tax-exempt bond financing, essentially to assist the Glendale Memorial Hospital, but issued by the California Statewide Communities Development Authority. And that is all.
Thank you very much. Next.
At 3B is commendation to STAR graduates.
Okay, Chief Adams. But before the chief speaks, let me say how happy I am to have all of these young men and women in the audience who participate in the STAR program and all of the corresponding police officers in the back. This is a program I'm very familiar with and has been around for so long and just keeps getting better every year, and so it's a pleasure to have you here tonight. Chief Adams.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and council members, it is an honor to be here tonight with our STAR program students to highlight that program. But before we actually get into making some introductions there and actually celebrating some of the graduates from that program, we'd like to show you a short video clip of some of the programs that our actual school resource officers are involved in. The STAR program is one of those programs, but I think it'll give you a good overview for all of the effort of the 8 officers that we have assigned into the schools do to interact with our youth in crime prevention type activities. So hopefully we have that queued up and can roll that for you. And we can't show you the whole program, so hopefully we have the excerpt queued up here that will allow us to highlight some of these programs.
Is there a volume? Party?
Find out. An SRO is a school resource officer. He's a full-fledged police officer assigned to the school. An SRO is charged with school security, any police activity that is needed on the school campus, such as vandalism, graffiti, any kind of assaults involving students, any kind of sexual abuse investigation involving one of their students at their schools. Not only is an SRO charged with all police functions at their school, they act many times as a mentor for kids that are in trouble. They act as mentors for kids that aren't in trouble. Yes, they play a role model. They play a very important role in their schools. They are representatives of the community where they can interact with the faculty and the parents and the schools. They play a very important role for the school district and the police department.
You're going to graduate this year? March. Oh, you're done in March, but you're going to stick around and walk, aren't you? Come back in June? Good, good.
We currently have 8 SROs. We have 2 SROs assigned to Glendale High School, 2 SROs assigned to Hoover High School, 1 SRO assigned to Daly High School, and 3 SROs assigned to our middle schools, 1 to Wilson Middle School, 1 to Roosevelt Middle School, and 1 at Toll Middle School. I see a big difference having an SRO assigned to the school because the SROs will gain first-hand knowledge as to who the students are at the school, which particular students are involved in any kind of criminal activity, so they can pass on that intelligence information to the rest of the Glendale Police Department and our investigative forces. They also act as mentors, as I said, and many times they can take preemptive measures to try and keep kids out of trouble and getting themselves involved in any kind of criminal activity.
He's the kind of guy, he's like a dad, you know what I mean? He's going to try, he will punish you in a fatherly way just to keep you safe. He's not a jerk. He's not going to try and just be mean. Okay? So you got to treat him with a lot of respect. And he'll let you talk. He'll let you explain your whole situation, but don't make excuses. You know what I mean? You got to just admit what you did and that you know it was wrong, etc.
PE's up there, right? Okay? And the bathroom is where? She's going to tell me that she gave you permission to go to the bathroom. Did you ever go to class? You know you have to be in school, right? Okay? And if you're not in school, there are consequences, right? Unless you're excused, right?
So you're already late, you're just going to make it later? Now you might get arrested for having vandalism tools because you're not allowed to have a really big marker like that. There's no reason for having it. Now we're looking at your backpack and we're looking at your notes and you have graffiti stuff on there. So what is that supposed to make us think? That you graffiti, right? That you vandalize other people's property.
It's really hard for us to catch kids doing graffiti as they're doing it, but because of the relationships that we build with the school faculty and the students, many times we can develop information to get the perpetrators into custody. In the high schools and middle schools, we have Crime Stopper signs posted in English, Spanish, and Armenian, so if kids see a crime occur in their school, they can report it. We also have anonymous tip boxes, such as here at the Glendale High School, we have the Nitro Tip Box, where we receive tips from students about criminal activity that's occurring on campus.
Why would somebody come and tell us that you might have marijuana. They think they saw you give him money, and then he gave you something else. And we're thinking maybe it was like drugs. So just look through the yearbook and let me know if you see that guy.
When the school resource officer develops information that a student is tagging on campus, many times that same student is tagging off campus. So they share that information with the specialized units of the Glendale Police Department, such as the gang unit. And the gang unit follows up on all graffiti that takes place in the city of Glendale. Many times these kids are responsible for a lot of the tagging that goes on in our community, and they're able to work in concert with the school resource officer to clear up some of those cases and bring those kids to justice.
Before and after school, we like to patrol the perimeter of the school. We're watching for several different things. Mainly it's traffic control, making sure that people are driving like they should, especially around all these kids. Just the visibility we found stops a lot of the violence that could occur, the fighting, whether or not people come to try to recruit our kids for gangs. That's been known to happen quite a bit. Knowing most of these kids and them knowing us, it makes a big difference, because if they fight and then they run, we know who they are. So if they see us, they just keep on walking, they wave to us. What's up?
It's my last day today.
Why, where are you going?
Advanced path.
You're not going to be at Glendale High anymore?
No. I don't mind, if it's going to help me get a high school diploma, I don't mind. I'm going to be the first one in my family.
Sometimes I'll stop and talk to the kids when they're not afraid to tell me what's going on. That one girl that we talked to, she's a little bit older, and she realizes that if people are going to fight, then that means probably someone's going to get hurt, and she doesn't want people to get hurt.
School resource officers are involved in a variety of different activities with the kids in our community. The SROs are involved in the PAL, which is the Police Activities League. Essentially, that's the programs that we coordinate, such as boxing, basketball, football, equestrian. We're starting soccer. So those are all programs that are run we primarily target our middle school kids, and during the critical after school hours, which is 3:30 to 6:30, where we try and keep these kids, keep their energies going in a positive direction so that they don't fall prey to gangs and graffiti and other activity that can get them in trouble. Another program that the Glendale Police Department coordinates is our STAR program, which are students training as role models. This is a very important program where we target kids of middle school and elementary school ages, getting them involved in programs such as Adopt Your Block program, where kids go out in the community and they pick up litter and they clean up their community. They also help each other out with homework assignments. If the child is having a problem with a particular subject, they try and assist each other in overcoming those difficulties. And they also do other activities such as playing basketball and painting and drawing, those type of activities that are important for kids to interact with each other and develop positive relationships with good adults. Our Explorer program is another important program that we have here at the Glendale Police Department, where we have kids in the community. They start at the ages of 14 to 16, and they explore what the law enforcement profession is all about. It encompasses a 16-week academy, receiving training on different facets of the law enforcement profession, as well as physical training. We expect our explorers to be physically fit and to maintain a level of physical fitness, such as being part of our Glendale Police Department wellness program. They will participate in that program as well.
3033 traffic, Brandon Broadway.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi, what did I do?
Well, you were speeding a little bit. You're going a little over the speed limit today. It's okay. Can I see your driver's license registration, please?
We teach them different facets of the law enforcement profession, such as traffic stops, investigations, interviews, collection of evidence, preservation of crime scenes, and many different things that we do with the explorers to get them, keep them interested in the profession of law enforcement.
Please drive safely.
I will.
And no more speeding.
We've talked a lot about how laws developed over time and how societies developed.
One of the important programs that we have at the Glendale Police Department is our Public Service Academy. We coordinate this program in partnership with the Glendale Unified School District at Hoover High School. It's a partnership between the Glendale Police Department and the Glendale Fire Department and the school district, where we have a curriculum. It's specifically designed to get kids interested in public service.
What does that mean?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and members of the City Council, thank you for your indulgence in taking a look at that video clip. That gives you a quick summary of a variety of the programs that our school resource officers are in trying to mentor the youth of our community into real positive involvement with our police department and to deal with kids that may be youth at risk, to keep them out of problems and to help them and steer them into very productive lives. One of the programs that we're very proud of and we'd like to highlight tonight is our STAR program, and I'd like to call forward at this time Officer Sue Shine to make a few introductions and talk about three of the individuals we're here to celebrate this evening. Officer Shine.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Council, and our great audience. We have some parents in the audience, which is always very exciting, as well as the very supportive command staff that I've been very blessed to have through my entire career. We have three students tonight that we wanted to bring before you and commend because they are truly stand above the rest kids. These are students training as role models that now will be in our community training others. One of the things on the tape that was wonderful for me is to see now an explorer, Maiko, who was one of our STAR graduates last year that you gave a commendation to. Now, he's an explorer. To me, there's no greater gift than to raise up out of your community people that will be the leaders in the city of Glendale. And I'm very blessed to know 19 of them right now, and 3 of them, unfortunately, are going to be moving on. But all of them have been a great asset to our community. Stephanie Nieto, Edwin Nieto, their brother and sister, and George Perez, which is the third of 5 of the Perez children that have been in our program. We still have 2 more. So at this time, I'd like to call Edwin, George, and Stephanie. Come on down. I want to introduce you. And very briefly, Stephanie is really the shining star of stars. She could tell us stories because she was there back in the day when Officer, now Sergeant Sam Hopper, and Matt Irvine, come on up, Stephanie, we're running the STAR Youth Program. She's been in the program 6.5 years. 6.5 years, this young lady. Every Tuesday, she comes and has dinner with us. We talk about things. We do some homework. We go over life skills, try to work on preventing bullying, preventing drug abuse so that they never start. And then they can give the advice to the younger students so that they never start. And then we have a generation paying it forward to the next generation beyond that. She's been on some great outings. We shared tonight how she's been to Sacramento. She's been to San Francisco with STAR. She's been to San Diego. We've done our overnights. And she's shared with the students that are just new all the wonderful experiences that she's had. And she's a Glendale High School student, so she knows Officer Lassie and Officer Kokorian, who are on the program as well. So she has that bridge, like our other graduates, to talk to our SROs and continue the relationship with the police department that we hope that we fostered. Next is her brother, George. George has been on our program almost as long as Stephanie. He's a little quieter, but he always has the biggest smile and the best advice for the younger STAR members. He's just a joy to have around. He's always got a good nature about him and always willing to lend a hand. He told us tonight that the Big Bear Camp that we do every year at Camp Cedar Falls, going out there riding the horses and being involved in the hikes and all the bugs that crawled on us when we slept outside, were some of the highlights in his years with our STAR program. He too is at Glendale High School. And last but not least, Edwin Nieto. He is the last of the Nietos. Obed Nieto is the oldest. He was an explorer, and he was with our program for years and years. And Obed is at Roosevelt Middle School and has been with our program over 3 years. And he, too, enjoyed the outings that we talked about, some of the Roar and Snore, which is another overnight that the program. Again, the city has funded most of these things, and where we haven't funded, the chief and the community support we receive from the Glendale Board of Realtors and the restaurants, like tonight we had Dinah's Fried Chicken, donating just unwittingly and unselfishly to these wonderful kids in our future. And of course, our other kids, we have Mara Pineda, who's my wonderful assistant. The Salvation Army has given us a great home since last August, and we were able to use their laptops. Our kids now are in the Zone Academy so that they get homework help every day, and that great basketball gym you saw was courtesy of people like Captain Sloan, who've stepped up and helped us to continue this great program and sustain it in the future. So these are our 3 STAR graduates for this year, 2007.
Congratulations.
I want you to stay at the mic. We have some commendations, mayor's commendations, and they're to George Perez, to Stephanie Nieto, and to Edwin Nieto. And they read, in addition to that, you're going to get some pins, and they read, "Congratulations on your successful graduation from the Student Training as Role Models program. The City Council applauds the positive choices you have made, and we commend you for the countless hours of time and energy you have generously volunteered. You are an exceptional person and a credit to our community. Keep up the good work." And it's signed by Dave Weaver, the mayor of Glendale, and the 3 city council members will go down and give them to you, as well as the pins. And while we're at it, let's have the rest of the kids from the STAR program stand up and take a bow and give them
Of course, we have Dorothy Grabelski, who's been our bulldog, going out and helping us get the support of the community. She's been with the program longer than any of the officers before my time, long before. The program's been in existence for 12 years, and it's a great attribute to her tenacity and belief in what this program does for these kids, and the success stories that we have is a great testimony to, again, the community of Glendale, this great, great jewel city that we have. Thank you so much for recognizing the students.
Everyone want a pin? Pins, come on up and get them. We'll take the mayor's pin.
Glad they all wore their T-shirts, sir, because if not, then I'd have to do push-ups, because if they don't wear their T-shirts, Officer Lassie instituted the program, they do 5 push-ups for no T-shirts, so...
Everyone can do 5 push-ups?
Oh, absolutely. We've done 15 and 20, and that's probably why they're all doing their shirts now, because they don't want to do that many anymore.
Do we have more things?
Officer Shine, STAR's a nationwide program, isn't it?
It's not, sir. It's actually modeled after Project Amigo, that was an LAPD program out of sort of the San Fernando area, and the foresight of the cops detail some 14 years ago under direction of Leif Nicolaisen and Rhonda Pompa went out there to find a program that could network in the community and modeled STAR after that, and Project Amigo is no more. So we get a lot of contact from across areas to look at our program for what the success that we have, but to my knowledge, this is it.
And how many kids do we have in our program here?
We have 19, and now we're going to be 16. So we have
get a new incoming class every.
We'll see. Yeah, we try. Yeah, we try to do an incoming class as as time allows. Obviously, we all have a lot of commitments. I'm now at a middle school full time, so it does present challenges to have more. But we have a lot of great officers that volunteer our time, and that makes the program work. So
that's great.
And Officer Shine, it's every year I can just tell how much you really enjoy this program. It's very obvious.
To be able to
and
do
in
it.
the email that you sent, let me read that, because it talks about, of the 6 we graduated last year, the students, 2 are volunteers at the homeless shelter and are on track to attend Ivy League schools.
Yes, sir.
And 1 is about to graduate from the Police Explorer Academy, and the other 3 are just fantastic students. So I think you're just, and all of the police department, everyone attached to this program is just doing a wonderful job, as well as the parents that are here tonight. Obviously, the family is very much involved in these kids' success. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate
Congratulations to
your
the
time.
police department, and thank you to the Salvation Army for helping out as well. So, thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Next.
Under presentations and appointments, I would like to place on next week's agenda the appointment of Stephen Raffogel to the Parks and Rec Commission.
And Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I would like to place on next week's agenda the appointment of Mr. Zari Sinanian to the Parks and Rec Commission.
Okay. Next, please. Next is consent item.
I apologize. According to our agenda, which has been modified, next would be city council or staff comments, but I believe we will do oral communications next. So we now will have oral communications. Discussion is limited to items not a part of...
Consent items.
Consent.
Oh, consent items? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Parliamentarian. Okay. Consent items, including minutes. The following are routine and may be acted upon by one motion. Any member of the council or the audience requesting separate consideration may do so by making such request before motion is proposed.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to pull item 5F.
Okay, we'll pull item 5F. Do I have a motion? No.
Okay,
Do I
I'll
have
move the
a-
rest.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Council members Manukian,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Yusefian, Mayor Weaver, Mayor Pro Tem Quintero.
Yes. Read 5F into the record, please.
5F is Director of Glendale Water and Power regarding power systems analysis, system protection study, and training for GWP's engineering and field operations personnel. At F1 is motion authorizing the city manager to execute a professional services agreement with Relay Application Innovation, Inc. on a time and materials basis in an amount not to exceed $500,000.
And Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I thought this was a rather important item, that if we could just get a brief explanation and hopefully let us know what steps the GWP is taking to resolve some of the power outage issues that we've been experiencing lately.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. Ramon Abueg, Electrical Services Administrator for Glendale Water and Power. This contract, if you recall, back in September, we asked your permission to go out for an RFP to select a consultant that would help us evaluate our system. What this is a consultant work for an engineering firm that would do an analysis of our power systems. In the past, we have been experiencing some power problems, and part of this is to study how well our system is being protected from what we call fault conditions. And this is when a high current is introduced and thereby creating power outages. What we wanted to do, let me give you some background also. We tried to do this work in-house, and we have tried to hire some employees, our own employees, that have an expertise in this field. We currently don't have any staff members that are familiar with system protection and relaying study. Unfortunately, the offers were made to those past potential employees. We did not take the offers, therefore we're looking for some expertise, some assistance in doing the analysis. What this will do is it will create a model for us. They would model the system, and we'll also create a standard, as well as train our in-house staff, both the engineers and the technicians, so that they can pass on the knowledge to us. What we're asking for is for a 3-year contract in the amount of about $500,000. The majority of the cost will be spent in the first year, where they do the modeling and the studying of the system. The subsequent years will be spent to train our personnel so that we can have the knowledge retained in-house for future work for our system analysis.
And the end result will be hopefully...
The end result will be a similar book like this, which is the standard, which identifies the different problems we've had over the years and what the corrections are. And this would also contribute to the plans that we do when we do our capital improvement programs. So they will identify specific projects that would help us create the improvements we need.
And I think the other end result you may have been looking for is greater system reliability overall.
Yes, that's the final end result.
That's what our residents and customers care about, and we certainly owe it to them, and it has been a concern of everyone on council that we maintain our reliability, and this, I guess, is addressing that issue by having one of the top firms come in to survey the system, make recommendations, train staff, and hopefully get everything on track again.
And that is correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Najarian. Do I have a motion?
Yes, I'll move 5F.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Council members Manukian,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Yusefian, Mayor Weaver, Mayor Pro Tem Quintero.
Yes. Next, please.
Next item is oral communication. Discussion is limited to items not part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Council may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. The city manager may refer the matter to the appropriate department for investigation and report.
Okay, we'll start with Christina Kazazian, followed by Sister Mary Ann Lenore.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Quintero, City Council members, staff, and the public. My name is Christina Kazazian. I'm here tonight to speak upon the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast, which is coming up on Thursday, March 8, 2007. It will be held at the Glendale Hilton Hotel, and our keynote speaker this year will be Tommy Hawkins. Tommy Hawkins is an award-winning sportscaster. He had a 10-year career in the NBA, playing for the LA Lakers and the Cincinnati Royals. He also had an 18-year sportscasting career with the LA Dodgers. We are very pleased that Mr. Hawkins will be able to be our keynote speaker. We will have Mr. Dave Weaver, our mayor. Larry Zarian will be our MC, and Lieutenant Colonel Rafi Najarian will be leading us in the pledge. We'd like to invite all the public to attend the event. If anyone has any questions, feel free to give the committee a call. Our phone number is 818-416-0775. This will be the 44th annual breakfast. We are very pleased that the tradition has continued. We've had many years with wonderful attendance, and we hope to see the public and the city staff there this on March 8th.
Who's going to give the pledge again?
Lieutenant Colonel Rafi Najarian.
Is that any relations to you, Mr. Najarian?
We share the same biological parents.
Thank you.
Sister.
What time is it again?
The breakfast doors open at 6 a.m. The breakfast will be served at 6:30, and the program will begin promptly at 7.
Very good.
And they do begin promptly.
Yes, we do bring them
I think you can
promptly.
roll in at 7:15 and expect to get service.
Thank you very much.
Sister Mary Ann Lenore, followed by Greg Davis.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and the City Council. Our words were to be addressed to Mayor Weaver, but since he's not here, we hope that you can share our concerns with him. I am a member of CLU, and we are a committee of religious leaders concerned here in Glendale with the welfare of the Glendale Hilton hotel workers and all workers that are poor here in the city. We are concerned about the annual Mayor's Prayer Breakfast scheduled for March 8th, as mentioned by the previous speaker. And like many members of the Glendale community, we are aware of the struggle of workers in the Glendale Hilton Hotel. They are representative of the working poor in America. Many cannot afford the insurance for their children, and they work 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. Many are also residents of Glendale, and some are members of our congregations. Their struggle is not only for themselves, but also for a better and more just Glendale. For as long as poverty exists in Glendale, we are all poor. For over a year, the workers have been organizing for the ability to choose whether to have union representation without management interference. In September of 2005, over 75% of the workers signed the petition asking the hotel management to remain neutral toward their organizing efforts. In April of the year 2006, due to the hotel's continuing unwillingness to do the right thing, the workers signed a petition to declare a boycott of their own workplace, asking the potential guest not eat, sleep, or meet at the Glendale Hilton. Based on our deep moral convictions for social and economic justice, We pledge to support the boycott of the Glendale Hilton and not to attend this year's prayer breakfast, so long as it is held in a boycotted hotel. Because we believe that a prayer breakfast is an important event for the entire Glendale community, we urge you to move the event to another location so that all members of the community may attend in good conscience. We have just begun collecting signatures and already have several from religious leaders and citizens of Glendale. We are continuing to collect the signatures, and we have them here, but we'll present them to the mayor at another time when we have more. And we invite all people of moral consciousness to join us as the alternative prayer service outside the hotel that will be occurring at the same time. Thank you very much.
Greg Davis, followed by Margaret Hammond.
Mayor Pro Tem Quintero, council members, staff, ladies and gentlemen, I come as a clergy person. I've been in Glendale 14 years at Central Christian Church. I come this evening on a repeat of what I said a year ago. I was assured last year by representatives of the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast that the event would be possibly moved. I heard recently that it would take place at the Glendale Hilton. This is Fat Tuesday. This is an evening to enjoy waffles, to enjoy desserts. Tomorrow is Ash Wednesday, a day for repentance. For those of you of the Christian faith and for those who are not, I encourage you to think about our actions as a community of faith. When we decide to make a contract with a hotel that does not respect its employees, we are putting profit before people. Let's be honest. The ashes are coming out tomorrow. It's time to repent. I do not want to come here next year. I would prefer not to be in front of the Hilton during the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. I would prefer to be inside to hear what the Colonel has to say. This is a serious issue, and this is an election year. I'm afraid it's probably not on your agendas, but it is on mine. People are more important than profit. Listen clearly. We will be judged on how we treat the poor, and I, as a pastor, work with the poor of this city. Our workers at the hotel deserve the ability to organize and to vote on a contract. It's easy. We do not need to be here again next year. There will be bullhorns. There will be people in the driveway. There will be some unhappy customers. And it doesn't have to be that way. It's not a threat. It's a reality. The prophets speak for the people. The prophets will be present. I have a concern about the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. The prayer breakfast taking place at a hotel that's being boycotted. What kind of example are we setting for the students that we bring into our city council meetings? People before profit. It's what I believe. It's what I think in your hearts you believe. And I think it's what, in the end, we will come to. Next year, may I be able to sit down, may the members of CLU be able to sit down with all the good people of faith and enjoy a prayer breakfast with integrity. And integrity, I'm afraid, we're missing this year. Thank you.
Reverend Davis, you say you actually spoke to the organizers?
I spoke to the city council a year ago about this issue. I had more here then.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, Margaret Hammond.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Pro Tem, members of the council, city staff, audience, and the people out there. My name is Margaret Hammond, and what I am here for, of course, people will consider maybe that I'm raining on the parade of on the heads of the children that came in. But why I'm here is I'm angry, and I know a lot of people feel the same way, about the continuing breaking or not enforcing laws on the books such as the laws with the banquet halls, having the barbecues when they're not supposed to be allowed. They keep on having them, and they are supposed to be coming up and being cited and blah, blah. And the other banquet halls that just are operating, again, under false pretensions. Again and again, all these things keep coming up. The thing about 702, that the people there keep doing business, it's against the law, they just keep doing it anyway. And, of course, the thing that really bugged me is the fact that reading the paper about this man, Scott Schaefer, getting nothing but 13 months. And he was trading guns for drugs, and with a gang in Burbank that ended up, they shot a policeman, a Burbank policeman. And yet he was part of the whole picture and got nothing but 13 months. And again, he had given a lot of money for several of the campaigns, the campaign funds of councilmen that were running right here in Glendale. I think that, what does this show the young people? That we approve of this kind of behavior? I mean, is that justice? 13 months? And he was caught red-handed. Not like anybody. I mean, the feds were in on it, the Glendale police, the Burbank police. It was a big thing. What did that cost our communities to go after this man and convict him? And yet he got away with 13 lousy months. Does that prove that crime pays? I think so. Because, as you all know, his cohort, Ms. Murphy, she got away with a slap on the wrist, too. To me, this is not right. And you're saying, well, what has this got to do with us? It has to do with us, because that man was doing business in this city and getting, what will you say, leases or whatever you want to call it, for his vans and his cars and so forth. I remember I went all through that and went through all the campaign figures and whatever that you can get right down in the city clerk's office, anybody that wants to look at where the campaign funds come from. So while we're on one hand saying to the kids, oh yes, this is wonderful, you're doing a great job, are we showing them a good example? I don't think so. I really don't. I really can't help but speak up about it. I feel that something really needs to be looked at in our system if this is the way it's going to go. What's the use of bothering to put all that money and effort and time and our resources into going after a man and then just letting him off, sort of with nothing but a slap on the wrist? I really feel that it's not a happy way to show our children, or a good way to show our children what the rules are about. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill Farrell, followed by Evelyn Harrigan.
I'm Bill Farrell, and I represent GlendaleCommunityConcerts.com. I'll also give you a phone number if you need it. It's 248-3133. This coming Sunday at 2:30 in the Glendale High School Auditorium at 441 Broadway in Verdugo, we have an outstanding concert. It's a repeat of last year. We had the Bonner Singers come last year with overwhelming acceptance and acclaim. So I asked the audience at the end, do you want them back? And they said next week. Well, I couldn't do that, so they're here this year, this Sunday. The Bonner Singers just recently, December 6th, finished up singing at our White House in Washington, D.C. They were one of 10,000 people that entered the contest, and they were one of 31 that were allowed to sing at the White House. And they performed at many distinguished auditoriums and groups around the country, as well as in our Southern California area. Now, each one of these people is a soloist in their own right. There are 60-plus people in this chorale, and they're outstanding. And They do things that gets the audience involved and so forth. And their program this year is called Sing America. Now, they sing songs from Stephen Foster, Down by the Riverside, and Who Are the Brave, and Guys and Dolls. They have Sourwood Mountain, American Folk Medley, a tribute to Romberg, the music of MGM, and they're just very popular songs all the way down. I'm not going to go through all of them, but they sing America the Beautiful, and I Got Shoes, Ezekiel Saw the Wheel, Cindy, Wizard of Oz, American Works Medley, and Battle Hymn of the Republic towards the end. Now, I hope that you will bring your friends, and I always ask you, be my guest. I'll be at the door. So it's not going to cost you anything if you come and see me. And again, I'm going to repeat, our website is www.glendaleCommunityConcerts, that's with an S, .com. And the phone number, people keep calling me. We have an office phone somewhere else, and that office phone is 248-3133. And I see our clerk here has got it all here on the... He's checking me out. Did I tell the truth? Okay. Thank you very much. You know, I've been coming for some time here, you know, and it's sort of like you've become longtime friends to me. And I see you in different places, and I watch you on the television and everything. And some people don't like it, but I kind of get a kick out of some of your back and forth between yourselves. It makes it interesting. Keeps me awake. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. Evelyn Harrigan, followed by John Lowe.
Hello. Thank you very much, Mayor Quintero, Mayor Pro Tem Quintero, and other members of the council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you about the Glendale Foothill Community's Crop Hunger Walk. This year it will happen on March 11th at 1 p.m. The Crop Hunger Walk raises funds for 4 food pantries, 1 food voucher program at Glendale Community College for needy students, and Food for Body and Soul, an all-volunteer group that provides a weekly hot meal. It's an interfaith group. The crop walk itself is both interfaith and community-wide. We hope to have more than 300 walkers, and we hope to have 30 congregations and members from the community walk in this walk. It's both an education and a fundraising effort for the community. I don't know if I said this before, but it's our 12th Glendale Walk, our 2nd Foothill Communities Walk. Last year we had over 20 congregations and groups that walked in the walk. Also, this is the 2nd year that we've accepted the Alan Feinstein Challenge. Last year they gave us $357 based on the amount of money that we had raised at the crop walk. This year we are hoping to best that. Food donations count also in the total for the Feinstein Challenge. If people would like to join the walk, we have a local number that they can call. I'm sorry. Sorry, I had that. Dr. Dan Urrutia at Incarnation Catholic Church, his number is 818-244-0547. As I said, there are 19 congregations for sure that will walk again this year. We hope that there will be others that will join us.
Okay, why don't you give us a date and location again?
Thank you. It is Sunday, March 11th. The walk begins at Incarnation Catholic Church. It goes down Central, comes back up Brand, and ends at St. Mark Episcopal Church. there will be a celebration at the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. John Lowe, followed by Nancy Kent.
I think Mr. Lowe stepped out, Frank.
Oh, he did?
Mr. Mayor.
John Lowe. Okay, Nancy Kent.
My name is Nancy Kent. I'm a resident of Glendale. Mayor Pro Tem Quintero and council members, staff, and others, I would like to invite you to a free film screening this Saturday, February 24th, 2 p.m. at the Montrose Library, 2465 Honolulu. We're screening the second portion of a 6.25-hour DVD called 9/11 Citizens Commission, an open inquiry into the attacks of September 11th. This Citizens Commission was held in New York in 2004, chaired by former Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney. It focuses only on governmental actions and statements and avoids questions about physical evidence, such as what destroyed the World Trade Center towers. This segment is 2 hours and includes Barry Zwicker speaking on previous government deceptions, such as the 1964 Gulf of Tonkin incident during the Vietnam War. Also, former U.S. Foreign Service officer Michael Springman speaking about U.S. visas he was ordered to issue while he was serving in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia before 9/11. Paul Thompson speaking about pre-9/11 warnings to our government from foreign governments, and Michael Rupert speaking in detail about Richard Cheney's and Rudy Giuliani's actions on 9/11, plus several military drills on the morning of 9/11, including a live fly airline hijacking drill. There will be audience discussion after the film. We do not expect any guest speakers. This is not a City of Glendale event. It's sponsored by Glendale Public Awareness About 9/11 Questions, and the library room was rented at the regular rate for Glendale residents. For information, call 818-242-4320. Again, that's the Montrose Library this Saturday, February 24th, 2 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Tina Treadwell, followed by Herbert Milano.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Quintero and council members. My name is Tina Treadwell. I'm a resident of Glendale. I've been a homeowner since 1997. I live in the horse overlay zone, right near the zoo, and I have a horse property, and I have a fence that has been in existence on the property since 1940. I spoke, as did other members of our community, when there was going to be a new ordinance regarding fencing in our area, and we were given the permission to have our fences grandfathered into the existing law. This is a picture of my house and the fence that exists there. And this fence has been there for since in the 40s. It's been existing like that. As you can see, there are two 150-year-old Chinese elms that are on the property line at the 12-foot line. And basically, the problem is that I had workers repairing the fence, and they ended up removing the fence. And because of that, I had them rebuild the fence, start to rebuild in the same place, having remembered the law saying that I had to be at least 5 feet behind the curb. However, as someone from the city came and said that it had to actually be 12 feet in, and the problem is that the trees that are existing there are exactly at that line. And I had gone to Edith Fuentes' office, and she had said that I could petition for being able to get an encroachment. But then when I went and talked to the person in the engineers, he said that it wasn't within the law to be able to do that, so that I would have to come before the council and see if there could be some special concession to be able to either pay a fee to be able to have an encroachment so that I could have the fence that was already partially rebuilt exist in the same place that it has been. And so that's why I'm here today.
Isn't there like a time period between
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, perhaps you wanted to respond to this under council communication or council staff comments?
Proceed we'll make a comment in a few moments.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Herbert Milano. It's a final card for oral communications.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Pro Tem Frank Quintero, members of the City Council, city staff. My name is Herbert Milano. This morning, I believe we had an essay by ex-mayor and council member Carl Raggio on the concept of elected officials who run for a 4-year term, jumping ship halfway through their term. I think Mr. Najarian knows what he's talking about, and Mr. Quintero, you do as well. And it is a concept that we should review. I believe that the council and Mr. Rafi Manukin has requested from the city attorney a review of our campaign finance and campaign reform. And I think it is maybe a topic worthwhile pursuing. I'm of the belief that anyone who runs for a 4-year term should complete the 4-year term and not use the term in office as a stepping stone to another position, because you make a commitment, you make a promise to those voters who put their energy and their money into your campaign so that you could serve the community. And it is the same issue that I had with Gus Gomez a few years back. I believe that those individuals who run for office and run for a 4-year term should commit themselves to that promise and to that opportunity to serve the public, because when they did so, those other individuals who did not make it did not have an opportunity to serve those 4 years. Now, I get reminded of this issue of campaigns this yesterday as I went home and sat down behind my computer and I saw that the screen wallpaper had been changed and had 40 pictures of Mayor Weaver all over the place. I think it was my daughter. She said, "Dad, it's like how many times he's run for office?" And I said, "Yes, I know, honey. It's I know he wants to be a councilman for life, but 40 times I think is a little bit too much." But I think that's another good topic to discuss with regard to campaign reform. I think that 2 terms is more than sufficient. After all, this is a part-time position. So if you can get your vision affected in those 2 terms, my goodness, I don't know why in the world you want to remain in a part-time position, unless, of course, there's something else to be gained by it. So I'm here to suggest, really, that we truly take a look at the reasons why individuals who promise to run for 4 years only run for 2. And so I think about Mr. Kekorian running for office as well and think, what are his qualifications? And I think the public should really ask that question, why someone would leave an office, and to ask the right type of questions with regard to using critical thinking skills. And I think that it is essential for people to ask the essential questions of candidates that run for office. I know that Mr. Howard is frowning at me, thinking that maybe I'm using this opportunity for campaigning, but I think that the topic of campaign reform is a topic that is viable and practical for us to bring up during this next 6 weeks. And I hope that you can suggest to our city attorney to bring it up earlier so we have an opportunity to share that with the public. Thank you very much.
Thank you. John Lowe? Okay, that closes oral communications. Next, please.
Next is city council or staff comments.
Okay, let's start with Tina Treadwell's issue.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, and we can look into this further to give you the details, but roughly speaking, this was a situation where you had fences that were in particular, that had been in there for some time. And as I recall, and Mr. Hagani might be able to correct me, when those fences were to be replaced or to be upgraded, at that time it was required by, the homeowners were required to essentially put those fences into a particular legal standing. In this case, it says that the fence must be on private property and it must be at least 5 feet from the back of curb. In this particular case, the right-of-way is very wide here. That's the 12 feet that Ms. Treadwell referred to. She replaced the fence. She replaced it or had it replaced in its exact location, which still encroaches into the public right-of-way. So essentially, for her to legalize that fence, she needs to go back 12 feet. Now, there is the issue of the trees, but one could ask the question of, you put the fence on the back of the trees if you wanted to, in order to make that particular code provision. Coming to us for an encroachment permit wasn't what I thought, at least, was what we were trying to accomplish here. Although encroachment permits obviously can be given, can be considered and granted for these type of encroachments into the right-of-way. But with the way the fence issue was addressed, was my understanding at least, that fence, when it was replaced, was to be legalized being put on private property a minimum of 5 feet from the back of curb.
And what triggered it basically was the taking it down to
rebuilding it. Yes.
Rebuilding it.
Yes.
Do you have any solutions that she can pursue at this point? Do you have any ideas for her, or what?
Well, we could certainly put our heads together with the city attorney's office and the planning folks to make sure, and code enforcement and whoever else we might be involved, and come back to you, Ms. Treadwell, with possible options.
Because I remember we specifically were exempting the horse overlay zone. And
Right.
Is it possible that I can say one more thing?
no, we're not allowed to do that. But if you contact the Public Works Director, working with the city attorney, hopefully we'll be able to work something.
Is it on the card?
I believe we do, but let me get it. I'll get it from Ms. Treadwell before she leaves.
Okay. Any city council comments?
I have a brief one.
Mr. Najarian.
Mayor Pro Tem, on behalf of the City Council, I'd like to welcome back home to Glendale Colonel James McGinley, who returned from a 5-month tour of Iraq. I don't know, they say tour, but it's not really a tour. He was there for 5 months working in Al Anbar province, and he oversaw the construction of a interagency command center in the city of Ramadi. And my brother, who is in the Air Force, said the colonel was a ground pounder. So that's someone who's there on the ground, facing the threat, and he's in harm's way most of the time. So he did return, and the entire city of Glendale would like to welcome you back, and congratulations to Mary Beth McGinley, the colonel's wife. We're glad to have you back home, safe and sound.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments? Okay, next, please.
Actually, we do have one other comment. Actually, it's from the Commission on Status of Women. I'd like to just state that there's Jewels of Glendale dinner, and if you'd like to come up and actually add to that. Sorry, I don't have the flyer on me to read off of it.
Your name for the record.
Good evening. My name is Grace Walker, and I'm here to represent the Commission on the Status of Women, and would like to invite the community to attend or to participate in our event, Jewels of Glendale, and this will be held on March 8th from 7 to 9 o'clock, and it will honor 2 outstanding women of Glendale who have overcome hardships and who are true models for our city. And we have a lot of wonderful prizes, auctions, and a lot of things that we're going to be sharing with the community. So we encourage everyone to participate. One of the highlights of that event is a $3,000 painting that's donated by Kush Gallery. And for those of you who are not familiar with Kush, he's a wonderful surreal artist. Okay, and this is one of his books, and we'd like art aficionados out there to participate in the event. Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Next is adoption of ordinances. 7A is ordinance providing for certain officers, subordinate officers, assistants, deputies, clerks, and employees of the City of Glendale, and for their compensation, GMA. This was offered on February 13th, 2007 by Councilmember Yusefian.
I'll move 7A.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Manukian,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Yusefian, Mayor Weaver, Mayor Pro Tem Quintero.
Yes. Next, please.
Is there any new business?
Yes, there is. I move that the city attorney be and hereby is authorized to enter into a retainer agreement to utilize legal services of Myers, Nave, Ryback, Silver, and Wilson, Kathy Mount, to review and advise the city on a personnel matter and to incur all necessary expenses in connection therewith. The agreement shall, in addition to other provisions, contain a fee cap for the handling of said matter.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Council members Menuchyan?
Yes.
Najarian?
Yes.
Yusefian? Mayor Weaver? Mayor Pro Tem Quintero?
Yes. Next, please.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned.